Hey everybody, it's Peter. It's Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada, beautiful fall colors, and we're gonna talk about this. So this is actually part of a three-part special series on this channel. The first thing we're gonna do is talk about RVing and motorhomes because I think they're cool. I rented this for the weekend and we're gonna talk about how to get this and what it is because this particular unit is super cool. So that's what this video is. It's gonna be an in-depth tour of this super cool thing where I'm gonna tell you how to get it, where to get it, all this stuff. And then I'm gonna do a second part of the video series where we're gonna talk about where we are. I'm a huge fan of New Brunswick, Canada here, and there's just so much to see, and I feel like they don't promote it enough. So I'm at Ocean River Campground. We're gonna talk about that in a secondary video. And then the third piece of the video is gonna talk about, I think the RV industry is maybe in for some disruption, which is okay, but I do think as there's a transition to a more greener personal vehicle future, that renting RVs could be the future of RVs more than buying. So we're gonna talk about that in a third part series. So that is this basically three-part series. I may add to it in the future, but that's what we're doing. So in this video, buckle up, grab yourself a snack, grab a beverage. It's gonna be a longer, more in-depth video because I grew up in RVs. I spent many years traveling 40 plus states in a motorhome. I did all 10 provinces in Canada in a motorhome. So I've kind of spent a lot of time traveling in these things and I kind of know what to look for and what not to look for. And that's what we're gonna talk about in this video. Meanwhile, we're just gonna start with this unit because it's super cool. So let's get going with that. All right, so the reason I chose this motorhome is because to me, it's super, super cool. If you've ever seen those Earth Roamer RVs, they're like $1 million American, $1 million plus, $1.5 million even. And they are full off-road, take anywhere kind of campers that are super, super cool. And the reality is, even if I had that kind of money, I don't think I'd have the courage to take something as far off-road as they're capable of doing. But this kind of gives me those vibes. And there's some inherent advantages to having a big diesel engine in a pickup truck style front end over a van front end and over some of these other front ends. And again, this one is rented. So I want to be clear, I want to thank Trias Truck Center in Fredericton, New Brunswick, because they have given me access to this vehicle and they're going to give me complete access beyond this weekend that I have it as a rental. So if you have questions about this vehicle or anything in their fleet, make sure you let me know in the comments below, hit subscribe because we can come back to it, talk about this more, and I'm going to talk about this kind of thing more as well. So we're going to tour this vehicle, but I want to thank them and a link is in the description. If you're coming from Southern Ontario, don't rent there, drive out to New Brunswick. That's most of a boring drive, maybe stop in Quebec City kind of thing, tour that, then come out, pick up this unit and take it and tour out east. That's what I think you should do. But now we're going to talk about why I think this is cool. And it really comes down to this kind of all-terrain kind of feeling here. You've got a little extra ground clearance. You have 4x4 capability. So if you're ever in a campground where you kind of get stuck, you can get out. And again, this isn't an overlanding rig, but it gives you some of those advantages of some of those overlanding rigs, and that's what I think is pretty cool. So we're gonna talk about that, we're gonna dive in, we're gonna take a look at the dash, we're gonna move our way through the actual unit itself and talk about why I think this one is cooler than some of the other alternatives out there. So forgetting the fact that this isn't a true overlanding vehicle, one of the benefits of those vehicles is this pickup truck style front end. And what that does is gives you the big 6.7 liter Power Stroke diesel engine out front with a 10-speed transmission. Now, if you don't know anything about vehicles, you don't really need to know anything, but you do need to know that that is a super torquey engine. And basically, it's a huge engine, so you think, oh, it's gonna get poor fuel efficiency. But if you're driving up and down mountains and that kind of thing, this thing basically does not work. As I was driving it out here, did about a 3-hour drive up and through some of the mountainous areas of New Brunswick, which of course aren't as mountainous as other areas of the country, but even like going up some of the steeper hills, it still held like 9 out of 10 gears, so 9th gear up some of those steeper hills. What that means is that in real world, when you're carrying all this extra weight, it really doesn't have to work hard to do that. And that's gonna contribute to fuel efficiency. I got just a hair over 20 liters per 100 kilometers driving this, which isn't bad when you consider what this is, and especially consider I was driving decently quick, and your mileage may vary, conditions may vary, but you already have what is a chassis that is really built from the ground up to carry all this weight and not something like a van front end. Now, the other thing with a van front end is you have a less typical driving environment. If you're used to driving a pickup truck, that's exactly what this feels like. Big mirrors out on the side, but it is basically a pickup truck inside. And it also gives you massive room back here. And one of the key benefits of that is this one is a 4-passenger cab. I'll show you the middle in a second here, but that gives you proper seat belts everywhere. And because this cab is so large, your passengers aren't going to care that they're not on a couch. And to be honest, these seats are more comfortable than other couches and that kind of thing. Now there are seatbelts inside the house portion as well. We're going to show you that as we get inside, but you have a nice, proper, safe, proper seatbelted area right in here. Let's go take a look at that right now. So I'll briefly show you the front here. Not a whole lot to look at. Again, very pickup truck friendly, typical Ford stuff where you have the dip down right there so that you have a little extra visibility out towards the front corners. And if you look down here, powered seat with a lumbar adjustment, pretty good adjustment in there. Tilt telescopic steering wheel, all the stuff you would expect in a typical pickup truck, including a similar view. You also have Apple CarPlay in here, which is super helpful for your maps and that kind of thing. Remember to download your maps first of all, just in case you go to places where you may not have great cell service. You can download it on Google Maps, and you know, we can talk about that in another video, but that's a key piece to have Apple CarPlay in there. Now if we step back here and open this back door, you really see the key benefit to a design like this. Excuse my poor camera work. One of the camera pieces I wanted to bring I didn't have with me today. So I've got my kids' boots in here, a couple other things, but let me just jump in here for a second here as I move things around. You can see here I'm 6 feet tall, and I've got 1.5 feet of space between where I had the driver's seat. So really comfortable seat here, nice reclined angle, and again, the proper seat belt here. Now you can crawl through to the back. We're gonna show you that when we come into the other side. But yeah, right here, you've got vents down here. You've got USB-C and A ports. You've got a regular plug. You've got a 12-volt plug, cup holders, everything you can need. This in the center is not a seat. So this is 4 passengers up front here because this is sort of a crawl through area to the back. Let's go show you the house part of this right now. All right, one of the problems I have is I forgot my Steadicam, so you're gonna have to forgive my little bit shaky hand here. We're gonna trust the iPhone Steadicam to help us out a little bit here. That's a problem when you go on vacation. So I'm gonna go fully wide angle for a second here. You've got a 3-step entrance. That is an electric step, so it comes in, of course, when the door is shut, but I have it locked out right now. We can show you how to work this vehicle in a different video. Again, we're staying wide angle here, so that's gonna skew the view right here. Stepping in here, you've got a pretty cool cabin area. So what you have here is a lot of sort of well-lit areas here. You can see you've got some lighting underneath there, some strip lighting up there. You've also got a dimmable light up there. So when you're sleeping here at night, you can have those lights on really dim, as well as underneath the fridge and underneath other areas over here. That little white strip, that's all lighting. So we can zoom into that and you can dim that down. So you can have a nice little ambient lighting area when you're sleeping here. So this thing is super cool because you have a lot of really practical benefits to this floor plan. So first of all, on the pickup truck style front end, you have a much different cabin entrance here. Again, we're still wide angle here. You can see that there's just a very small entrance there. So it's a crawl through area more than a walk through area that you'd have in a typical van. But you do have that space right there to get through the cab. Now there is a security setting inside if you're ever renting this for perimeter or all sensors. You're gonna see that when you turn it off. You're gonna wanna set that to perimeter and all, perimeter sensors instead of all, because otherwise when there's movement, when the vehicle's off and locked, it can sense back here and it can set off an alarm. So this is a little curtain that I've got folded up right now, which you can put down in there. We can talk about some of those features in a future video if you want as well. Coming back here, this is what I really like. So because you have a van front or a pickup truck front end instead of a van front end, you have a proper queen bed where you lay this way and that way instead of across because it's longer. And what that does is allows you to have extra space. And there is storage everywhere in this. So you've got storage underneath here, over there. You've got a window up here. In fact, I'm gonna climb up for a quick second here. And again, I apologize for not having my Steadicam there. You've got another window there. You've got another bedside table right there. And you've got a, hello, there I am. Don't want to be on camera like that. You've got a closet over here with the sliding mirrored doors. The other thing you have is a massive opening vent right there, which you can have as the screen open, so lets the hot air out, or you can fully close it off so it's sort of a nightshade and done like that. So again, big benefit to laying like this and having the proper length as opposed to like that, because you get so much more space there as a lounge area. There is a TV up here, haven't used it yet, but you've got it with you there as well. And then you come down to the dinette over here. So this is a proper 4-person dinette. This easily folds into a bed. Now, one thing to remember is if you are a 6-foot adult like myself, this is a little bit of a short bed. So a taller adult may have to lay diagonally, but you could easily lay 2 kids in length there, but that's not a problem because you also have this. This is a fold-out couch that comes out, and then the mattress can kind of flip over into like a double bed there as well. So you have a really nice extra bed there as well. But there's an extra bed right over here. So what we're gonna do is gonna skip the kitchen for a second. We'll come back to that in a second. And I'm gonna show you how you do this. You turn on this little button right here. Let's just do that. Click that, and we're gonna hold this button right here. So when I do that, let's see if I can do this nice and steady. You can see that bed drops down. So then you have an extra single bed up top right there that comes down like that. And if you want your kids to be lounging around while you're like maybe eating over here, one kid there, and actually that fits an adult as well, but you know, for us, our case, our visit, our purpose this weekend, I have one kid there, I have one kid here, my wife and I are up there, and then we can still leave this up and have a seating area. So pretty cool design there. Let's flip the camera around in a second and we'll look at the back half of this RV. All right, so I'm still in that wide angle view here, so you can sort of see everything all at once, but it might skew the view a little bit at the edges. And to be blunt, if you're watching any of their RV videos, they're very similar. So what you have here is a nice deep sink. A lot of RV sinks are small, easily able to do dishes in there. A large countertop area, and the way you can tell as well is it's a 3-burner stove with still a significant amount of space behind that. A lot of time they do a 2-burner stove, less space, so you have a width to the kitchen area there, and then you have it open to a fridge here, which is a good size fridge. You've got a freezer on top, fridge down there, and that's a 3-way fridge, so it can run on 12 volts, it can run on propane, and it can run when you're plugged into a campsite like I am right now. The other thing is this has a generator, so you can go fully off grid and use the generator and still have full electrical power, which is pretty cool. There's also a solar panel on the roof, so you can keep your 12-volt batteries charged, which is pretty cool. You've got the microwave up there, and I should point out that the dinette is on a slide out, so when you're driving, it closes in this much. So that kind of comes into about there-ish, give or take. And then you have a little bit more of a narrow walkway where I'm standing right now, but that works, you know, just fine. Over here, cabinet space above, drawer space there, and that is very deep space right there. So you have a lot of storage. I should show you the other storage in the unit up here. Decent cabinets up there for storing food. And then of course, because this is a rental, all of this is open. Everything in the front is open, including that extra closet space up here, right? That extra fairly deep closet. But because this is a rental, they give you what you need all in here. So you've got your dishes up there. I'm not gonna open all that because we've got a bunch of stuff in there as well. But yeah, down here, you've got garbage bags, and let's just see what my family's packed away. No, we're all good. So you got ways to clean, garbage bags. Looks like we hid a dirty dish from you guys on the video. That's just what we're doing today. But then you have a stove and an oven, which is pretty cool because it's Thanksgiving weekend here. We're gonna have our little Thanksgiving little feast with our family of 4. And then you come in here and you have a proper shower for the bathroom there as well. So you got typical RV shower, so they're not massive, but you've got a raise in the roof there, which gives you some light. And again, that helps because this is a little bit raised from the floor down there. Nice little bathroom sink. You've got, hello there. Again, forgot my Steadicam, so hopefully my hands are steady enough. And of course the toilet down here as well. So not massive bathroom, but certainly bigger than some bathrooms, big enough to do everything you need to do in here. And again, everything's all self-contained. So you never have to leave this unit in order to get everything you need done. There's a few things outside I want to show you as well, and then we're going to talk specifically about renting versus buying and why this one is a really good option to rent. All right, so I want to point out that there is a screen door right here. I came just out of that screen door right now, and of course this door can sort of prop open like it is. There is also an awning here, which is a good size awning as well. A little bit of wind right now has flopped the extra little flap that hangs down over there back up, but that's okay. One of the cool things about this is the 4-season insulation that they talk about here. So a lot of RVs have a water tank that is outside the unit. In this case, the water tank is inside, and what that does for you is if you were to go out a little bit later in the season, your water tank, let me just hold this one-handedly up, actually it magnetically goes there, but your water tank is inside. It's not underneath the unit. What that means is that if you're comfortable inside, it's going to be comfortable as well, and it won't freeze there as well. So you've got some ability to take this unit in colder weathers, and that means you can go out when it's, you know, I'm talking Celsius because we're in Canada, but if it's, you know, 8 or 10 degrees in the daytime, but it drops down to -2 at night, you don't have to worry about your water freezing. You've got that ability to have that water tank inside. Propane's down here. We'll just go through a little tour of the outside here. Water heater. All these doors, I should mention, are really solid as well. Big tires there. And again, I mentioned this is a 4-wheel drive unit. So if it was like really rainy and things got really muddy and you were gonna get stuck somewhere, just slip in a 4x4 and off you go. Windows there, again, that's that little window looking out on the front. That's a window over the couch area. water heater there, furnace there. Now there is a furnace here. This furnace runs on propane. Here's one of the cool things about renting from the Trias Truck Center is a lot of places they make you refill it up with propane and do everything else. All you gotta do is fill this thing with gas. They're gonna make sure that if you don't get a chance to dump, they can dump it for you. If you don't get a chance to fill the propane, they're gonna fill the propane for you. Again, we're on the wide angle view, so if it's a little skewed, that is what it is. But it's a really cool way to rent. And that's why it just makes more sense to rent from them than, especially if you're in like Ontario touring out east. It just really makes sense to rent with these guys. Drive out here and rent this here. In the back here, there's some extra storage here. This is stuff, some of the stuff they give you equipped from the beginning. Ooh, can I do this with two hands? Ooh, hold on. I'm gonna pause the camera for 1 second. So out here on the back, this is a spare and clean hose that they've got in here. Normally I wouldn't probably put it there, but this is the one disadvantage of this. There's not a ton of outdoor storage. This is your big compartment. Some of these motorhomes, when you own them, they have compartments big enough to put a bike on there. This one doesn't, and I think it maximizes the inside space. As a rental unit, it works really, really, really well. But if you need to take bigger things, you can take them right in here, lawn chairs, all kinds of stuff. This is maybe a little bigger than it looks on camera, but let's let that slam back down. And again, everything's slam latched to slam shut. What's cool about this as well is you have a lot of things going on here. You have the dual hitch there. What that allows you to do is put a hitch in here and a bike rack up higher, and that means that you can take your bike racks and your trailer if you want to take a little trailer or something, pick up a boat, that kind of thing. You've got the trailer wiring right there, and you have trailer brake controls here. And again, I can tell you the power of this unit, it can absolutely handle that weight. There is a backup camera up high right there, so you have that backup camera tied into the system there. We're going to jump in the cab in a second there. Over here, very simple to use stuff. So this is pretty simple. You need a water hose, it's right there. You need electrical cord, it's coiled right there. But instead, I have it hooked up through this cabinet, right up through there to my power. I don't have water connected because they've got water in this unit when you rent it, so I don't have to connect to water. If I did though, I can use all the connections in here. So again, your electrical connection pops up through the floor through one of these things, plugs into there, and that keeps it out of the way and just kind of nice and clean, keeps everything out nice and simple. Dump tank is right there, which is nice. A lot of times they're hanging down low underneath the unit. It's not. Kind of looks a little low here just because of the way we're parked. Diesel fuel there. That's your fridge back. And then this is pretty cool in here. These are underneath the dinette seats. So open that up, and again, just magnetically, those latch up like there. I've got a bunch of junk in here, and I've got these here. Now my muddy shoes are there. This is a brilliant way to get, these are Trekology, but you'll see this chairs in a second. There's other brands and that kind of thing. We bought these on Amazon, but you can get them as typical brands. So these are small hatches here. There's a generator down there, but those small hatches allow us to take our regular lawn chairs. If you don't have these kinds of lawn chairs, they pack super small, they set up in a hurry, they're nice and lightweight, and they're super, super comfortable. So again, I'll show us sitting in these maybe in another video here. But these chairs pack up super small, so you can take them in your regular vehicle anytime, you can take them in small hatches. They're super helpful as well. A couple things I want to show you in the dash, and then we're going to wrap up by talking about who this is for and why you should consider maybe renting this unit. Let's go back to give you a proper view that's not skewed on the edges. Let's just take a quick look at the dash. All right, take a look at the dash here. Again, I drove in from Fredericton to where I am right now. We'll talk about that in a future video, about 3 hours away, 20.2 liters per 100 kilometers. I don't know if that's good or that's bad. You can tell me. I think it's good for what this unit is. Having trouble getting the focus here. There we go. So typical Ford dash here. Let's go fully wide angle just to see everything here. You've got your overall controls here, cruise control down here, audio controls here. This is really handy because, like I said, you do have the Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So that means this can be used as your mapping system the same way you would your phone. And that makes it really helpful because I can look up on my phone in the you know, the house part of this unit as we're parked where I want to go in a day. I can save those things to my Google Maps or make them at least in my recently searched. And then when I drop it in here, I have all of that there. I mentioned this was an all 4x4. So again, 2 high, 4 high, and even 4 low. So if you're in a really tough situation where you got to pull something up, you can absolutely do that here. Trailer brake controller right there. Typical controls here for, you know, just climate controls, that kind of thing. And over here, 12 volt and a regular plug as well. So I'm going to be able to charge my laptop while I'm driving there, even in the regular plug. So typical stuff in here. Overall visibility is excellent because it's a pickup truck essentially from here. One cool thing, if you made it this far and your kids aren't watching anymore, see these over here? Those are auxiliary buttons. They're part of the Ford package on a package like this, but the reality is they're not hooked up to anything. So what we're going to tell our kids is this is the ejection seat for 1 seat, 2 seats, 3 seats, and 4 seats, and 5. Anyways, that's what those are really for. Again, these sensors here, actually, there's one thing I want to show you here. You can control in here. Let's just go to the controls over here. We're going to go to the display. No, we're going to go to settings down here. Go to settings. You're going to go to advanced settings. You're going to go to vehicle. You're going to go to alarm. And you're going to have it not all sensors, but you're going to go perimeter sensors. And we're going to leave that on perimeter sensors right now. And what that means is that if you have the curtain, which let's go fully wide angle, if you have the curtain up in here like I do right now, looking out to the back, that means when you lock this thing at night, it's not going to sense that there's people moving, because one of the things that this vehicle has is little sensors to see if there's people in the cabin, and it can set off an alarm. So you're going to make sure it's not all sensors, it's perimeter sensing like that, and then you can leave that curtain up. If you have it on all sensors, then you got to make sure that curtain is down when you're going to bed and the vehicle's locked. Just a little tip for you. I just noticed one cool thing. Apparently when I turn the key to the on position, the awning goes back in. Good to know. That's one thing you do want to put in. So let's wrap this up by talking about why you would want to rent and why you want to rent from this company, Trias Truck Center in Fredericton, New Brunswick, even if you're from something like Southern Ontario. So first of all, I used to be from Southern Ontario, now I live here. If you're driving from Southern Ontario to out in the Maritimes to do a trip out east, just take your car. You're going to be able to stop in Ottawa. You're going to be able to stop in Quebec City. You do those things. Those are easier tours to do without a motorhome. And if you can make it out to Fredericton, you're going to have a whole bunch of advantages renting from these guys. So first of all, like I mentioned, you don't have to fill your propane tank when you're done. That's all part of the rental. They'll fill it back up for you. If you don't get a chance to empty your dump tanks when you bring it back to them, no problem. They'll take care of that for you. You just have to rent from them. Fill it with diesel fuel. I was going to say gas, but fill it with diesel fuel in this case. And again, the trips to like Newfoundland or out through Nova Scotia or out through New Brunswick, they can get kind of mountainous, and you can rent these little small units that, you know, seem like they're fairly efficient, but when they start going up and down hills, they're working really, really hard. This thing never works hard, so that makes it nice and easy. And again, you've got the ability to take the bike rack off maybe your own vehicle, throw it on this vehicle, take your bikes. You can take a trailer if you needed to. Have to talk to them about the rules with trailering. I'm not sure if they have them around that, but that's sort of a key piece. Now, finally, let's talk about renting versus owning. And this is a whole separate video, but to me, one of the keys of renting is you have the ability to pick the unit that fits your trip. Not just the unit you want. There's no storage, there's no maintenance, there's nothing else. You just grab the one you need and you keep going. And again, this one's super cool for those adventurous type people, because if you want to go somewhere where it's off grid, you go to another place, like I said, you've got a little more ground clearance than some of the vans. Some of those vans are front wheel drive as well. This one gives the ability to have a 4x4 system, so if you get in a slippery situation, and it's got a generator, which means you can go fully off grid. A little bit of solar panels to keep your 12 volts going, generator to make sure you got the power you need for everything else. It's a super cool unit, and I think it's worth renting and trying out. So again, I rented it this weekend. We're gonna do another talk again. Next video, we're gonna talk about where we are. We're also gonna talk about the transition to green vehicles and how this might be the solution, even though it's a 6.7 liter big power stroke engine that doesn't make sense for transition to green vehicles. We'll talk about that in a future video. Thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you click on the link in the description to see these guys, to see how you can rent from them. And I may be doing future videos on this unit and stuff for them in the future. So if you want to know more about it, make sure you let me know, because again, I have complete access to their camping trailers and actually anything they work with, or camping trailers, camping motorhomes. Anyways, thanks for watching. Give them a try. Click the link in the description to see them. Make sure you give me a like on this video, because that would really help me to do more videos like this.